Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's be real. The story of AI is moving so fast it's almost impossible to keep up. So to cut through all that noise, we're going to break it down for you. We've got 5 key topics, 5 charts that really tell the story of its explosive growth, its frankly wild economics, and what it all means for, us.
All right, so here's the plan. We're going to start with the tech itself, the mind-blowing leaps in capability. Then we'll follow the money, because there's a lot of it. And finally, we'll zoom out and look at what this all means for society. Let's do it.
Okay, first up, the capability explosion. This is really the engine driving this whole revolution, right? The just staggering, almost unbelievable improvement in what these systems can actually do. 4 months. That's the number. Seriously, let that sink in for a second. Right now, AI's power is doubling every 4 months. I mean, that's just a relentless, unforgiving pace that has completely shattered every prediction that said, oh, it's got to slow down soon. Nope. And here's the kicker. It's not just about raw power. The models are getting smarter and way cheaper. Just look at this. Gemini 3 Flash is actually better than a top-tier model from just a few months back, but it costs a third of the price. A third! That is how this stuff gets into everyone's hands. But, okay, here's a fascinating twist. You'd think with all this insane progress, we'd be speeding towards AGI, right? Artificial General Intelligence. Well, a lot of the top experts are actually pushing their timelines back. It's a really powerful reminder that that last leap, that final step, it is incredibly hard.
So what you have to understand is that this progress isn't some smooth, even wave. It's what the experts are calling a jagged frontier. And what that means is an AI can be a literal superhuman genius at one thing, and then just shockingly bad at something else that seems simple. And you can imagine this creates huge practical headaches when you try to actually use this stuff in the real world.
So what's fueling this whole capability explosion? Well, it's an absolutely unprecedented wave of investment. Let's get into our second topic, the AI gold rush. Time to follow the money. Wow. Okay, this one really says it all. We are living through a massive, historic pivot in what we build. Think about it. We're slowing down construction on places for humans to work, and we're pouring trillions, literally trillions, into building places for AI to think. And this quote from Mark Zuckerberg, it perfectly captures the mindset that's driving this whole spending spree. For these huge tech companies, the risk of getting left behind in the AI race, that is so much scarier than the risk of spending too much money. It's a game they can't afford to lose. Okay, so when you see all this money flying around, you have to ask the big question, right? Is the AI market a house of cards? Is this a real sustainable economy, or is it just one giant bubble with everyone just, pumping money into each other? Well, the truth is, it's kind of both. Let's look at this money go round. You've got the tech giants pouring billions into AI labs. Okay, then those AI labs turn around and use that money to buy computing power from those same tech giants. See the circle? But, and this is the important part, what keeps it from being a total bubble is this piece right here, real, actual customer revenue. And that revenue is growing faster than almost anything we've ever seen before. So all this investment, all this cash, is it actually paying off? Let's move on to our third section and look at the real-world impact. How is AI actually changing business today? Okay, the data here is, honestly, it's pretty stunning. A huge 82% of companies, that's most of them, are already seeing a positive return on their AI investments. This tells you one thing, we are officially past the hype phase. This is very real. And this leads to a fascinating economic paradox. You'd think as AI gets cheaper, companies would spend less, right? Save some money. But nope, they're spending more. And why is that? It's because cheaper AI suddenly makes all these new ideas and projects possible, things that were just too expensive to even try before. It just pours more fuel on the fire. Now, this next part is a real shocker, especially with all the doom and gloom talk about jobs. It turns out that so far, the jobs with the most exposure to AI are actually seeing higher growth in both wages and in the number of jobs. At least that's what's happening for now. But, and this is a huge but, that optimistic data comes with a very serious warning. It fits perfectly into this idea of a K-shaped economy, where one line goes up and the other goes down. The idea is that all the benefits of AI are flowing upwards to business owners and highly skilled workers, while a lot of other people see their wages and opportunities just fall. It's a recipe for widening inequality.
Okay, so if you want a little preview of how AI is going to affect a whole lot of other professions, let's dive into our fourth section and look at the first one being totally remade in real time: software engineering. 25%. What is that? Well, that is the huge jump in the number of new apps and games that came out in 2025. It's this massive creative boom, and it's being directly fueled by these new AI tools that help people write code. But it's not all a simple productivity boost. Coders are now running into these really weird new problems, like something they're calling the semi-async valley of death. I know, it's a mouthful. But basically, it's this awkward middle ground where an AI tool is too slow to collaborate with you, but it's not smart enough for you to just delegate the task and walk away. It's forcing a total redesign of how engineering teams even work. All right, for our final section, let's zoom all the way out. Let's talk about the big picture, the huge societal debates that are really going to define the next few years. And this really captures the huge disconnect that's happening right now. On one hand, you have the tech industry talking about incredible progress and amazing new capabilities. But on the other hand, for most of us, our actual daily experience with AI is increasingly defined by one word: slop. Just an endless fire hose of low-quality AI-generated junk content. So how does this play out politically? Well, the data paints a really interesting picture. Look, AI isn't a top 5 issue for most voters, not yet anyway. But at the same time, a majority of people don't want the federal government stopping their state from regulating it. They want local control. And just starting to see that play out with local politics heating up around things like new data centers. So where does all of this leave us? I think it comes down to this. The progress of AI is undeniable. It can advance at a truly world-altering speed. That part of the debate is over. But its direction, that is absolutely not a given. And the really hard work, the human work of deciding what we want to do with it, of shaping where it goes next, well, that has only just begun.